I, 24 male, caught my girlfriend, 22 female, giving my dad, 54 male, a foot massage. My girlfriend and I have been together for a year. The previous 2 months, she has been living with me at home with my parents due to the fact that we have both been experiencing financial difficulties, and she has a terrible relationship with her family. Everything has been going well, and she has made it a point to provide a hand around the house whenever she is able. She normally gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning to do the housekeeping in quiet. She woke me up when she left the room this morning, but I didn't pay attention to it since it didn't bother me. My mouth was dry, so I walked to the kitchen to get a glass of water to quench my thirst. My girlfriend doesn't generally clean that particular room, so I saw the door to the guest room was open in the hallway. This was uncommon for her. The first thing I saw upon opening the door was my father asleep in a chair next to the bed, his feet propped up, and my girlfriend sitting in front of him, her hands wrapped around one of his feet. They were both resplendent in their finery. They both turned to look at me, and I returned their stare before quietly returning to my room and locking the door behind me, as they did. When my girlfriend came to the door, she explained to me that it was simply a foot massage and that it wasn't what I had anticipated, but I didn't pay attention to her. I also heard my father slapping me on the back of the head and calling me immature, followed by my mother begging with me to at the very least come out for dinner. I attempted to go through her phone for any weird text messages, but the phone was locked when I tried to open it. I haven't left my room since I woke up this morning. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to feel at this point. Is it conceivable that I'm exaggerating my concerns? Exactly how am I going to cope with this situation? Please don't bring up the Pulp Fiction scenario. I have no interest in hearing about it. Edit. I summoned the courage to approach them and had my girlfriend unlock her phone so that I could speak with them. This has been going on for a long time, and I'm betting that my mother either didn't notice or doesn't care about what is going on. There are a number of different heart emojis. It was too tough for my girlfriend to tell me, she added, but she felt terrible for my father, who had expressed discomfort over his age and foot problems. I told him that she was not a masseuse, as well as making some other disparaging remarks. Despite his attempts to discuss comfort levels and limitations, I advised him that the fact that they did so in secret demonstrated that they already recognized boundaries had been breached and that they should stop. My decision to quit was based on a brief physical altercation between the two of us. I've already sought out to a friend for help. Whether it went any farther than that is unclear, but the faith has been lost entirely. In all likelihood, it is unlikely that I will be able to speak with any of them again. Story 2. Told my ex-wife if it weren't for our daughter, I wouldn't ever talk to her again. My ex-husband was unsatisfied with the state of our marriage. Despite the fact that she never communicated her unhappiness with me, she ultimately came to the point where she no longer felt in love with me. The fact that she later said that she couldn't live with certain behaviors was never a need for me to adjust them. At this period, she was involved in an emotional affair at least. I became aware of it as a result of noticing changes in her behavior. Her phone was with her at all times, no matter where she went. The shower and the bathroom were always nearby, hidden under her pillow, and she never had to go far. When I approached her, she would quickly close her phone and walk away. The message was quite obvious. She was never going to admit it to me, no matter how much I begged. I did what I had to do and sifted through all of her personal belongings, including her phone, Facebook, and Google search history. It's clear that this isn't a platonic relationship. I faced it, and the two of us parted company. She picked Thanksgiving Day as the occasion for this. This happened to be the day she was meant to leave. And it happened to be 30 minutes before we were set to leave for my family's Thanksgiving celebration. I decided to go to therapy in order to sort myself out. It turned out to be one of the best decisions I'd ever made for my own well-being. It let me realize that I'm not a flawless person. However, I've learned that I'm willing to take responsibility for them and to put out effort to improve them. That chance was never provided to me. Before throwing down the towel, I was even open to the idea of going to couples counseling. She said it was futile since she didn't care about me, and therefore it was meaningless. We ended our relationship after 2 months of separation, which included her staying at the home of her affair partner for a month. The fact that she chose to go without even making an effort to repair the things that I didn't even realize were wrong crushed my spirit. She has never admitted to or apologized for her infidelity with another man. For I was debating whether or not I wanted to continue living. With the help of counseling, exercise, family support, medication, my child, and pure tenacity, I was able to get out of the woods I was in. I'm back to my old self. I'm completely satisfied. Her decision to divorce was made in April of this year. We split everything equally between us. I'm in good shape. Moved, having my braces removed, in great condition, with a fabulous career, and meeting lots of lovely females are some of my goals for the next several months. Having a conversation with my ex, on the other hand, often forces me to take a step backward. I realized that I needed to set some boundaries with her in terms of communication. I wrote to her approximately a month ago, explaining that I wanted any communication between us to be focused only on our child's well-being. In this case, she has diverged from the desired course of action. We have joint custody of our child. She wanted to go on a weekend trip with her friends, so I agreed to adjust some of the legally agreed-upon timelines for the birth of our daughter in order to accommodate her wishes. It was through text message that she informed me that we would be handing over at around 6 p.m. and that she was open to changing the schedule if required. I asked her if we could do it at 6:30 p.m. instead, so that our child could have dinner with me and my parents and I wouldn't have to worry my mother, who was making dinner at the time. She agreed, and I thanked her for her cooperation. As a consequence of the divorce, I'll be staying with them until the end of next week. She conveyed her wish for us to begin eating sooner rather than later. I inquire as to the reason for this. It's because we agreed on a time of 6 p.m., she said. No, I said. My mother would not alter her plans because of the infidelity and other inappropriate behavior. Due to the fact that I'm doing her a favor by swapping, it is my legal custodial time, and asking my mother to modify dinner is not an option. I refuse to change my mind. She flies into a text fury, stating that she would either drive over and wait in the driveway until we are through dining, or that she will just come pick up our child from school. I promise her that she will not. Her next move is to call me 5 times in a row. She says she'll be on the phone all night since she has nothing else planned. When she phoned, I didn't pick up the phone and instead told her I was in the middle of watching a movie. After the film, we have a conversation, and it is clear that the conversation is growing emotional. She had been calling me a jerk for years. Keep in mind that she had never before notified me that she felt that way about anything. If the caller grew abusive, I would end the conversation. We had another discussion about it last night. It was important for me to remind her of the communication boundaries I had set with her. When she asked if we could talk about our past, I told her it was not an option. I informed her that my family was aware of her relationship with another man. It was with much regret that I told her that her actions had had a severe impact on my mental health. I've informed her that I'm doing great now, yet she continues to put me down with her behavior. I told her that calling her is a kind of verbal abuse, which I would not tolerate under any circumstances. I also advised her that I believe the constant phone calls to constitute harassment, and that, if the harassment continued, I would file a lawsuit against her on my behalf. As I explained to her, I hoped I didn't feel this way, but I knew that if it weren't for our kid, I'd never speak to her again because of the manner she chose to end the relationship. I'm still suffering from a nasty cold. In my opinion, she should be made aware of what she has done to me and how I feel about her as a result of it. Nothing appears to be quite right.